Hey, Rachel here at Pink Puddle Studio, and welcome back to the third part of my series Getting Started with Watercolor. So this video is going to focus more on what do you paint? How do you know what to paint? So I'm going to give you a few suggestions on how I become inspired on what to choose. So let's get started. First thing you want to think about is what inspired you to even start painting? Was it another artist? Was it something that you saw in a magazine? Was it something you saw from outside? Just think about that. If it was nothing like that, if it was just like, hey, I want to paint, then that's fine too. So you just take what I say as far as inspiration to get, an idea of what you want to paint. First, I want to talk about, before really getting into it, is being inspired by an artist. It's really flattering, and artists are there, like me. We're there to inspire you to get your creative juices flowing and just being creative with your imagination. But one thing to keep in mind is that I think personally, and I'm talking from myself as an artist, I think it's fine when somebody who is learning to mimic my work. But when it's not okay is that when you try to take that work and make it your own. So you try to sell it, you try to make it seem like you created that design, and also you're copying the same style as the artist that you admire. That's a big no-no. So really keep that in mind when you are looking at imagery. So if you're looking at imagery from another artist, always try to make it your own. Maybe take pieces of it that you like. That's just really important because you don't want to copyright another artist that inspires you. One of the sources I love is Pinterest. I'm sure you guys all know about Pinterest. It has a library of imagery. For example, for me, I traveled, but I don't travel that much, and right now obviously we're not traveling that much, so I don't have a lot of images from around the world, and I like to play off different color palettes and textures and buildings and structures and nature and all that. So I like to have a whole kind of assortment. So I go to Pinterest, and that's where I get a lot of ideas. One other source I really love are just plain old books. I have a Kindle, and I love like digital because I think it's like saving books and all that. But when it comes to art, I like to have things in front of me. So I love art books. For me in specific, I paint a lot of nature. So I have a lot of cacti, plants, botanical books, and those are so inspiring to me. But if you are more into architecture or whatever subject matter you're into, maybe explore books that you can find and use those as inspiration, because I think that they'd be really helpful for you. So go out to a bookstore, local bookstore, online, Amazon, anything, you'll find just a whole plethora of different types of books that fit your need or inspiration. Another option is your own photography, real life itself. So if you do like to take pictures, say of birds, and you want to paint them, use those photos that you've accumulated. Or if anything, you can go out and take photos yourself and use those as inspiration for your own paintings. Another inspiration I find are through words, so poetry, things like that, storytelling. I think that they can all paint very vivid pictures, and this is a really interesting way to be inspired, in my opinion, when you're painting, because you're not visually looking at something, but you're more creating an image in your imagination of what those words kind of mean to you. And I think that's a really cool thing. So if you've never tried that, maybe get a poetry book or a storybook or something that paints like a really nice picture for you that you could turn into some type of painting. Speaking as an artist, inspiration does come in phases, so you're not gonna feel inspired all the time. And if that's the case, if you're in one of those phases where you're just not feeling it, then sometimes I force myself. That's your choice if you want to do that. It pushes you to a different boundary. I think that over time, you get more of a feel for your own style and aesthetic that you are more drawn to, and it'll be, I think, a little bit easier for you to find inspiration. But with that said, when you do have a specific subject matter that you're more leaning towards, as you create more collections or more paintings from it, it might become more of a challenge to create something original from what you've done. That's part of the challenge, and I think that's the best part really of creating art, because you're always trying to challenge yourself. So I hope you guys got some ideas from places that you can go, things that you can do to find inspiration. Now that we have all our inspiration and where to find it, I hope you can join me next time, and we're gonna dive deeper into how to start that first painting. So gather that inspiration and I'll see you next time. Bye.